Hey friends, thanks for joining me again today in the Nabis Kitchen. So today, what I'm preparing is another take on tomato stew, which is versatile. As you know, you can use it for your jollof rice, your fish, beef, chicken stews, even as a base in your soups like your peanut butter soup. And I have taught you how to do that here on this channel. So a quick other take on it. I think you'll love it. The ingredients we're going to need are, we have some tomatoes, which is the main base of this stew. Now I have washed and de-seeded them. They offer sweetness too, but a bigger punch in terms of acidity, which will balance all the other flavors we have going on, the savoriness and the sweetness. All of it will come together beautifully. You need cleaned red bell peppers. Wash them and remove their seeds. These bring volume, a pop of color, and it makes the stew quite vibrant. Now, what is a tomato stew without onions? You need onions, and a whole lot of onions. Preferably white, yellow, or sweet. But if you have the red, you can absolutely use them as well. We have some fresh aromatics. We cannot make this stew without fresh aromatics because what do they bring? Of course, aroma. Also a depth of flavor. Now we do have some garlic, cloves here. We also have some ginger, which I have cut against the grain so it's easier to blend into a smooth paste. We will also be needing some chilies. All right, I have some habaneros and then scotch bonnet. Now, if you want less heat, just remove the membrane within them and the seeds as well, just like so. But I'll keep the heat because it'll all be toned down in the end. You also need some fresh parsley, all right? The fresher, the better, all right? And there we go with those. This ingredient is earthy in taste. Can you guess what it is? If you guess beets, absolutely. Now I peel mine, wash them thoroughly, and blend them with a little bit of vinegar. And I store them in the freezer. And it's great in bringing more flavor, more volume, a pop of color, just makes everything nice and vibrant. And like I said, earthiness, why not? We also need some dry spices which will bring fragrance to our tomato stew, starting with these bay leaves, fennel seeds, aniseeds, dry thyme, curry powder, dry rosemary, and green cardamom pods. If you have these, use them, you will love them. And finally, of course, we're going to be needing some salt and crushed black pepper. Last but certainly not the least, we're going to be needing some cooking oil here. This is cooking olive oil. We're going to roast most of our ingredients in this roasting pan here, starting with the red bell peppers. Spread them out. Garlic, ginger, all of our chilies are gonna go in as well. Our tomatoes. It really helps to de-seed these because tomatoes, as we know, have a substantial amount of juice within them, which prolongs the cooking time. So it helps to remove as much of the juice as you possibly can without losing the flesh. For the onions, I will be roasting some with the rest of the ingredients, and I will also be caramelizing some. Both treatments will offer a different set of flavor, which I want both. A drizzle of oil helps to move things along. Cannot roast without oil, so just a bit. Into the oven. The other half of my onions I like to slice thinly because I'll be caramelizing them. It brings another set of flavor, more sweetness. And caramelized onions are like the final chef kiss to a dish like this. And now the other half of the entire amount of onions for the recipe have been sliced thinly and we're ready to cook. So we start with oil on medium heat. While the oil is heating, we're going to process our spices, starting with the cardamom, fennel seeds, bay leaves, rosemary, aniseed, thyme, and that's it. We're going to crush these until they are sort of coarse, not too smooth. It doesn't have to be smooth really, and that texture is perfect. Yes. And we're ready to cook. So let's cook, friends. Starting with the onions, lots of onions. Yes, this pot right here is asking for all the onions you've got. It's like, give me all the onions you've got because it knows exactly what it's doing. We're intending on caramelizing these onions. We start with the whole lot, right? So the volume as you see it now is a lot, but it will eventually become reduced. There will be a reduction that will take place in the volume only. But then the taste will become more elevated. Yes, more elevated, which really is what we need because what we're creating here is a base. So a little bit is all you need to go a long way. Next ingredient is tomato paste, which will bring us a seasoned, concentrated flavor in our stew. Exactly what we're looking for. All right, so now take a close look at the reduction we have been able to achieve with the caramelized onions. We started with almost a pot full of onions. So just imagine the concentration in flavor here and taste. So the tomato paste goes in. You stir that in to make it one mixture, and then you go in with the beets. Stir that in as well, and then cook on medium-low please. Vent the lid when it's applied and cook on medium-low for about 5 minutes. Now we're going in with our spices. Perfect. So that was the mixture of the herbs and the spices we blended and the curry powder as well. Now let's season with some crushed black pepper. And yes, even though this is the base, we need just a little bit of salt to help prolong its shelf life in the fridge or the freezer. So the salt here will act as a preservative. And our roasted ingredients are now ready. As you can see, there's caramelization, there's char, and that's what we need. Now we're going to blend the fresh parsley with the roasted ingredients and pour it into the pot and pretty much be done with the production of this take on tomato-based stew. I hope to inspire you with this recipe. I have used it in so many different ways for soups, peanut butter soup, for my jollof, for my stews with the different proteins. All right, for my light soup even. Yes, you can use this to make light soup. And let me tell you, it will really elevate your flavor so much. It will blow your mind. It is really good to have this in your back pockets, in your freezer, in your fridge. Throw some even in your purse. And when you go visiting a friend, give it to them as a present. They will be thankful and they will find great use for it. So yes, I'm blending everything into a very smooth puree because I want the final product here to be smooth. All right, I have made a chunky version of this stew before on this channel. You can find it. Yes, I love that there are so many different versions of making a tomato-based stew on this channel. So please check out the other ones. So we have cooked now on low heat, throwing the lid on and venting it. All right, and just stirring it periodically. And it is cooking beautifully without the bottom catching. And that's exactly what we want. If you turn the heat down to the lowest setting, then it will not catch on the bottom. It's perfect. And it is done cooking. Now let's portion. This is tasty just on its own. And I love that all you need is a little bit. You don't need a lot. You do not need a lot. So when I use this, I will start with maybe some leeks, some vegetables, and then throw a little bit on this if I'm making a stew. And then the protein will come in eventually. And before you know it, something scrumptious is going down. So I portion them like this into glass containers after they are cooled down. Apply the lids and into the fridge and freezer they go. I throw about 2 of them in the fridge and then the rest of them go into the freezer. See, now I'm using it to make egusi stew. Yeah, egusi stew. And this stew, it went down. It was really tasty, friends. And to think of it, I used palm oil to make this stew, and yet I was able to use this tomato-based stew as a base. So it's perfect. Friends, I hope you are inspired to try this. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, make it a great day and have fun, especially in that kitchen.